What's up, yo? This is Ryan.
And this is Michael from All Day Unpacked. Here we back with another episode. And look at that. It's
Yeah,
not even a week later.
I know. Pretty impressive.
I know.
So, the discussion for today, there's a kind of, I don't know, I feel like big news kind of happening here, and that is that dollar moments seem like all of a sudden they're back and they're plentiful. And
Yep.
it doesn't seem like they're being flipped anymore. It seemed like, your lumberjacks and people like that would come in and buy them, flip them for $2, could make a profit. But it seems like now all of a sudden they're not doing that anymore. So it seems like everybody's kind of got a free shot at $1 moments if they want them. I mean, you've got to be somewhat quick, but they're there to be
Yeah.
had. What's kind of your take on it?
Yeah, no, I'm noticing that too. What I've noticed is that lumberjacks and girl dads and all sorts of people are kind of like they're selectively picking, right? So if like
Correct.
if a superstar hits $1, they'll snatch it up. But if it's just a true common where it's a player who's maybe not as prevalent or someone who's
Sure.
even out of the league now, those dollar moments are sitting out there for the public to take and consume. So I think it's like kind of a step down, right? Like it tells us that there's so many dollar moments happening that those flippers are like, I can't take this inventory on because I may not be able to move it at $2.
Right. It seems
So
too risky. Yeah.
yeah.
And I
So
think
yeah, so
that's
that opens up a big question, which is we've got, I mean, the other thing too is in those dynamic packs, right? In the rare packs and in the legendary packs, that's how they, I mean, we had talked about this a lot. Like, how are they going to get rid of all those extra Series 2 moments that were just sitting there and just a
sure.
glut of those? And the answer was they're going to just put them in these packs. And honestly, that's what I see a lot of, right? I mean, there's some people who are getting out of the product altogether, but what I see are a lot of people who buy the packs in the secondary market or in the primary market, and they just don't even care about the commons because they've already got one of them, so they just sell them all off. And so
Right.
I think we're seeing a lot of those Series 2 commons just sit there and just like, that's, I would say, what, 80 to 90% of the dollar moment. So you've come up with a genius idea that's kind of a feed two birds with one scone. So it's you're going to get rid of all of this glut of commons, and then you've also
Correct.
figured out a way to add the ultimates. So what's your plan?
So here's the plan. There's going to be some ultimate moments that happen this season. All Day needs to hang on to those moments. Like as far as like they need to use those as leverage. And what they
Hmm.
should do is they should do a massive burn to get in the running to get an ultimate. Um, I'm going to get a little detailed here. I don't know if everybody can follow along, but essentially what I'm thinking is that to get an ultimate, there's 100 slots, and you need to burn. Let's create some large number of commons that you've got to burn. Because again, you're going for an ultimate, whether it be like a hundred commons or maybe
Okay.
150, maybe 250, some crazy amount, and you get slotted, and you get in the running. The first people to do this would get slotted. There'd be 100 people. 10 of those people would get the moment. I don't know if they could do a random drawing, how they would do it, but essentially 10 of the 100. So I mean, you've got a fairly good shot at getting an
Yeah, like a
ultimate.
one and two. Okay, so
A
let me
one
get this
one
straight.
in
You're
10.
saying I burn. So the deal is like they've come up with an ultimate moment. Let's say it
Correct.
was something from that Dolphins 70-point performance today or whatever. Just
Great
let's say,
idea.
right?
Yep.
Okay, so I burn 250 commons from any commons, right? So
Any
series one,
comments?
series two, just
Yes.
250 moments, right?
Right.
And that gets me a one slot in a
Yep.
drawing for 10 ultimates, and there's 100 slots maximum. So the first 100 people to burn 250 moments get in the drawing, and those people
Correct.
get entered. 10 of them are going to win an ultimate.
Correct. So with the amount of dollar moments that are out there right now, it's almost like you're,
Mm.
kind of paying like $250 for a ticket to get an ultimate. Now, again, could we vary the numbers? Could we change it up? Could the first one be 100 or 150 just to kind of
Right.
see, can we get this plane off the ground? I think that's a great place to start because again, we've got to get the numbers down. And I think there needs to be a reward, and everybody wants an ultimate. So rather than
Yeah.
creating these other, like, again, you can create like packs, you can sell things. I don't remember exactly how they've done it in the past, but I feel like the leverage is there. The season's going on. Take these great moments, these ultimates, and use them
Yeah.
to get some of the supply down.
I mean, I mean, it's an interesting idea just because if you think about it, like commons are like a dollar or two, right? So let's just say
Sure.
they're $2. So $2, and let's say you have to do what, 200. So that's $400 for your entry. You have a 1 in 10 chance. So really it's $4,000 altogether of burning that gets
Yes.
put into the system to get you. So one ultimate equals $4,000 basically. So
Correct.
it's, yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I mean, I don't, the only problem is that with that type of challenge, then Dapper doesn't see any income. But that being said, they just took in a ton of money from the, all the dynamics. And so, yeah, that could be an interesting way to kind of earn some. I mean, I feel like that would go a good way with the community too, just in the sense of, I think the community kind of feels, not to say burned, but like kind of not heard right now in the sense that, it's like, like we're participating, we're buying these new moments, we're doing all these things. And it's
Right.
like, what for? Right. And so that would be an interesting way to really like dry up some common supply,
Yes. I mean,
but
you could even take it to the next level and do a rare one if you wanted and lower the count. I guess what I'm saying is, as these moments come out, let's just say they take the Dolphins 70-point run that happened and they put it
yeah,
out there. People see a great moment and like, oh, there's one coming. I mean, the thing you got to ask yourself is, if you knew you had a chance to get an ultimate, how many commons would you burn to get that
mhm.
slot? So I ask
I think
myself,
most
like,
people would say all of them, but yeah.
probably. I mean, they're literally giving them away. So again, we've got a lot of gamblers out there. So again, to
Yeah.
get, imagine you burn 250 commons and you get one of those ultimates. How you feeling? Fucking good. You're feeling
Yeah.
like, damn, I just got rid of all that shit. Now I got something good. And again, we're lowering the counts. And that's what everybody wants. So again, they need to come up with a way to make it where you burn 250, you're not burning one at a time. It's got to be a click them all at one time, make it simple type of thing. But
Yep.
again, as these great moments happen, it's like, oh shit, here comes another one. I get another shot. Or, I don't know how you want to do it, but I just think it's a great way to get people excited about what's going on. And again, then people will maybe start hoarding these commons because they know that they need them for a possible ultimate. So again, it dries up the supply. People hang on to them. They're not dishing them out all the time.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I'd be worried about is let's say they did do that with 100, right? Let's say
Okay.
there's 100 slots, right? The problem is like, there's probably a couple thousand, maybe let's just even say there's only 1,000 really active users right now. So
Mhm.
100 people are going to get in and be like, great, I got my chance at an ultimate. But there's going to be, 5, 6, 7, 12, 1,500 people who wanted a shot who would have burned the commons but didn't
Mhm.
get in. So
Right.
I wonder if maybe it's, like All Day could almost go a step further and just say, hey, just everybody who burns 200 commons gets an entry for 10 ultimates. And if it's 100 people, you have a 1 in 10 chance winning. And if it's 1,000 people, you have a 1% chance of winning.
Or they could make it like this, the moment's going to be the Dolphins. You get X amount of entries per season. I mean, maybe that would chat people the wrong way, but again, it's like if you really want that ultimate, if you love, the Dolphins, if that's your team, you get in on that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I hear you, but the point would be like there's only going to be 2 or 3 ultimates in the season, so it's not like you're gonna pass up a chance to get that Dolphins ultimate. Especially, I mean, because in your mind it is going to be worth, it's an ultimate, so it should be worth more money.
Yeah.
Um, so that would be
Again,
my only thought. Is just like again, yeah, it's
but
only
we
that if
we
you
get
do it
people
that way, it's only
fighting
given
for
100
spots
people.
again. We get people fighting to burn. We get people fighting like we're pushing the ball in the right direction. Maybe people might
Yeah,
get mad because they didn't get a shot at it, but those days were better than the days of right now when people are just like, I don't give a shit.
that's a fair point. I guess I'm just trying to think of how, again, if it's 100, it's, there's fans of this product all around the world, right? So if they release
Hmm.
it, during US time, it kind of screws all the Australian and European fans, or if they release it during European time, it screws all, so
Yeah,
it's especially if it's limited to 100. So, I mean, I like your idea. I'm not trying
sure,
to say
sure.
no to it. I'm just trying to think like how could it be done to make it more fair for all the users? And I think that it's ultimately it's I don't think most people have, do you think most accounts have 200 rares to burn? Like, do you just think, or they probably
I
do. So
I mean,
it would just be a bigger
you
lottery.
here's the thing. I mean, you could come up with barriers to entry. You could
Hmm.
say, you could say unless you have this set or this or that.
Yeah,
But
like
then again,
gated.
it takes out people that necessarily wouldn't have had a shot. That's how you're blocking new users from coming in by doing that. So I don't necessarily like
Yeah, but I
that.
don't think new users are going to just come in, buy 200 commons and burn them, right? Like I don't feel like that's going to be new users. Maybe newer in the sense of that they've only, maybe they've just got started or maybe they got started with this season or something, but I don't think a new user is just going to show up day one, burn 200 new, moments and
Right. What I
so,
would say is this is do them in different ways. This is a good chance to experiment. Try the
yeah.
first one way, learn from your mistakes, do it a
Yeah,
different
no,
way.
and that's what they do a
Again,
lot of, obviously. So it's
yeah,
yeah, there's things to try. I guess, I'm just brainstorming here with you, just thinking like what could they do to make it a little bit more of a,
right.
like a something that would encompass the whole crew.
Sure. I mean, but again, it's like, I mean, I don't know. How many ultimates do you think there is in a season?
I mean, I'm trying to think. Last season there was what? There was the Trevor Lawrence playoff one. There was the Justin Jefferson catch. There was there a Diggs? No, he didn't have an ultimate. Who was Mahomes? Or no, the Chiefs had one, but that might have been, was that Super Bowl? Yeah. So the Super Bowl one, the Chiefs had one. So the ultimates were more towards the end of the season, and really they were, if I remember right, those were part of like the leaderboard. Remember that was like the
Sure.
prizes for the leaderboard. So in essence, they were kind of giveaways for being one of the top 10
Right.
collectors in the
Sure.
product, which, again, that's not us, but I think that's, it was a fair reward to those people who were,
Right.
who are buying that much of the product.
Right.
So,
And they did that last year. So, this is a different year.
yeah,
We've got new obstacles facing the product. So now would be a good time to maybe say
you
the
know,
leaderboard.
and so just to think about your idea and just tweak it a little bit, maybe
Sure.
instead of doing the 10 ultimate, there's still 13 legendary dynamics of every player. So maybe they take five of each player and they just create, they create like kind of, if you burn 100 commons or 200 commons or
Yep.
whatever, you get an entry, right? For whoever, like, and then let
Sure.
let it go that way or something.
Got it. I mean, I don't want to sound like a certain way, but I feel like legendaries have lost their luster. Like
Yeah.
they've abused the legendary. Like again, it's like I look at leverage. What leverage do they have? Ultimates are still leverage. Genesis are crap. Legendaries, there's too many of them. There's not a lot of ultimates. So again, it's like these like awesome moments that are like great moments. Just like I mean the video from the game, it's just like they're great moments. Maybe they can do something special with these,
Yeah.
add like a new element. Again, kind of beef these up. These are great. Again, I just use the word leverage because it's the one thing they kind of have left where people are like, ooh, like I would really want an ultimate. I would,
Yeah.
you know. And I like the idea that, there's 100 slots, burning a bunch of these moments. Again, even if I don't get the ultimate, I'm winning. The
Yeah.
collectors win because it lowers the numbers. We get rid of the excess.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess we'll see how it goes. Again, it's just my thought is that how do you, I mean, I guess again, you could open it up to 1,000 entries instead of 100, but that would be my only concern is that once you gate it, once you do that, you're going to piss people. Like, it's just
You can't
like,
win. But I mean, again,
right.
if you
You can't
announce
win.
it a week in advance and you say it's going to
Yeah.
be at this time, and it's going to be this way. I mean, the only other thing I could do is you could make like a lotto system where it's like you put your name in and it randomly draws 100 people. You got to burn those moments, and then you're on the clock. And if you don't burn those moments in this much time, then it opens up another slot. Somebody else gets the next ticket and they get it.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
like
I
buying
mean,
packs.
right.
And then
Like a queue.
Right. And then maybe you even like, maybe you give 10 slots to like, the kookaburras of the world that have done,
Right.
you know, again,
Yeah.
like some of your top collectors or something like that. I'm not one of those people. I'm not a top 10 person, but again, maybe you reward them. But I almost think maybe you don't because it's like those people end up with a bunch of the moments and nobody else does.
Yeah, I mean, and that's part of the problem too. It's like the rich get richer, and I mean, I do like the idea of like doing an ultimate drop that's open to just everybody. And
Yeah.
like
I
but
don't even
again,
care
you're
if I
gonna
don't get
like
it.
that may piss off your, top collectors too who feel that way. So who
Well,
knows?
I mean, why would it, I mean, they're not entitled to it any more than I am. So it's
Yeah,
again, it's
I bet they feel. I would think they feel differently, in the sense of they feel like, hey, I've invested, thousands of dollars into this product, right? Some of these
sure.
people have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in the product.
Yes.
Why do I get the same treatment as a guy who's put $10 into this product?
They haven't gotten the same treatment. In every
No,
other
I'm saying,
drop,
and,
they
and
get
if going for an ultimate though, they would get the same chance as that person who bought one $10 pack, in going for that.
because I don't think that every single pack drop and every single like moment that gets passed out needs to have like a certain status attached to getting like special
Well,
treatment.
but
It's like
it
there's
does though,
got to be
because you're literally saying that the ultimate has the status, which is why you want to go with an ultimate over a legendary, is the
yeah.
status. So
No, I'm talking about
this
the status
drop
of the
does have
person.
status
I'm
attached
talking
to it.
about I know, but what I'm saying is the status of we can't like I Kookaburra seems like a really nice person. I'm just using him because he's one of the top collectors.
Sure.
Kookaburra has gotten probably great treatment because he is one of the top collectors on many different drops and many different
Yeah, totally.
situations.
I mean,
So I'm
yeah,
just
there's no
saying, I think
question.
that any rational person would realize that you can't get special treatment on every single situation.
Right.
Again, it's like,
Yeah,
I'm like you're a higher collector. I'm a higher collector. That doesn't mean that I expect to get special treatment in every scenario. If somebody who has 40 moments gets the ultimate and I don't, I'm not going to have any like ill will. They did
right.
what I did. They should have a fair shot because again, if that person with 40 moments gets an ultimate, they suddenly have skin in the game and that widens the net. That
Yeah.
gets them interested. Maybe they tell their friends, "Hey, I got in. I didn't have that many moments." And you think about the people that we know that have a few moments. If they got one, they'd be like, "Fuck, this is awesome."
Yeah.
Right? So again, it's
Well,
like if you keep
some of
giving them
them,
to the
yeah, but
same,
then half of them, I think, would just be like, how much can I sell this thing for and get my money?
well, then Kookaburra ends up with it,
Right.
and it's, you know,
Yeah, no. I'm not saying it's a bad idea or something. I'm just kind of
I,
battle
I,
testing your idea and
right.
sorting it
I
out
guess
here.
the thing that I'm thinking in my head is, how else can we start to get rid of these moments? How do we get out from underneath the $1 moments? Because again, they're going to drop these commons and uncommons, and it's going to bury us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they got
What's
that problem
crazy is
cooked.
when you look at the numbers, 10,000.
I
There,
know, not that
there
much.
are millions of NFL football fans. And the fact that we can't get people back online, and I get it. I know we're in crypto winter and blah, 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 blah. But it's
Sure.
just like, I'm a little bit leery of if we do, burn and burn and burn and burn, to make these moments more valuable. When people try to get in, granted, the new uncommons and the unlimited ones will be what they can get into, but man, it's gonna like, can you imagine what that's gonna do to like if the product ever does increase its
Yeah.
user base, people trying to get those older moments are gonna really, and that maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. I
That's the
don't
way
know. I'm
to
just,
me,
yeah,
that's that to me says be a collector then.
yeah.
Buy up those moments.
Well, no, and
I mean,
I think of like old football cards, right? Like, so it's like,
yeah.
kids would put them in their bikes and, put them on the wheels to make motorcycle
Yeah.
noises. And some kids
Yeah.
would put them in their cassette players and poke holes in them. And, everybody did all sorts of different things with their cards. And that was
Yeah.
just the attrition of the supply. Like, that's the burn, right? Because you can't,
That is the
that doesn't
burn.
happen with digital moments, right? You don't have kids, using them for those kind of purposes. So
Yeah.
it's like, I guess that's the way to look at it, is that, like the older sets become more scarce because just, like you would lose, cards would get lost or get in bad condition. And we don't really have that. Like you
Yes.
can't bend a Jalen Hurts, debut moment. You can just
Right.
own it or not own it. So,
Or burn it.
or burn it. Yeah. Which I would
Yes.
put under not own it, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
all
And
right.
I
Well,
and I
anyways, I think it's a good idea. I think that's I think I think you're onto something. I think there's a little bit of refinement there, but I
Yeah.
like the idea of the
And
burning for the
and
ultimate.
yeah, and if people have, I mean, the few hundred people that watch this, if I mean, if anybody has any great ideas on, how to get rid of the supply and how to kind of, again, we've got these ultimates. How would you use the ultimate? Like, what is your idea for using it for leverage? Should they just be in pack drops? I mean, again, Dapper wants to make money on it, but again, as the community, it's, we got to be thinking, how do we keep the longevity of this going? Because
Yeah.
otherwise, it's just gonna, it's gonna go the way of Top Shot. And I look at that and I'm looking futuristically, how can we stop this before it happens? So I would love to hear anybody else that's got any better suggestions. And I'd like to, I hope my idea gets out there and I hope somebody takes it and twists it and makes it even better. Or tell me you got something completely different that's better because I'm listening. I'm
Yeah.
interested to know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, of course, it's like it's always interesting to hear other people's ideas and such, and so yeah, definitely be curious to see if anybody can throw a clock on that idea and get it to be even better. So,
Right.
all
Right.
right, so moving it forward, we talked about this. I think it was last episode actually. We've talked about it a few times, but most recently we talked about it last episode, which was the app that we
Yes.
want to see, and we
So
did a little
describe the app.
digging.
So
Yeah.
describe the
So
app
so
just
we
really
talked
quick.
about having an app where you could pull up your moments, watch them. They would be like kind of full screen, almost like digital football cards, right? So it's like you
Yep.
could share your collection. You could easily trade with somebody. If you had a phone and I had a phone, we could just bump them or whatever, be near field and just,
Sure.
trade moments or, I could show you on my phone, those types of things. And so we've been talking about this and we looked on we decided to kind of like, we were looking at like what's going on with Dapper, like what are they doing, where are they taking things. So we went and we checked out their career postings. And sure enough, we found that they are looking for app developers to do
Right.
some of these very things. And so I think, for me, that's a great sign, a positive sign that they're looking to make that mobile app.
Right.
We talked about this last week a little bit too, right? The platform is opening up to third parties. And so I think there's a lot of potential there really to like come up with some
Right.
really cool ways to like show off your collection, trade it, give it utility in other, like in other platforms and such. So I think that's really promising, not just on the, the Dapper side, but also on that third party front. I think, again, we're early into something that's going to take, a bunch of years to take off. So this is at
Right.
least a promising sign that they're going in the right direction there.
Right. Right. I'm really feeling what they're doing. I just, I guess the only thing is I hope the product doesn't kind of crash or they run out of funds. I mean, I see, Flow is at 44 cents. I don't know if that dictates the wealth of the company and how they're actually doing. You would think it have something to do with it. But I'm just hoping that they can piece this together and kind of get it out there and
Yeah.
hopefully it looks good and it works. I mean, they've done a good job of making the product. It's going to evolve as we go along, and hopefully they do a good job with it. And I mean, it's a good sign. It's better
Yeah,
than where we were.
it is. No, yeah, for
So
sure.
much credit to them.
Yeah, that's good. That's good that they're on the right track.
Right, they got a job
One other
posting.
thing I
That's a
was
start.
yeah, exactly. Now the guy hire somebody, but
Yeah,
the one thing I was going to tell you about too that I know, like, and this is I'm just dropping this on you right now because I just found or recently just found out about it,
yeah.
which is NHL is doing their own
Okay,
NFT, and so I don't think it's Dapper. I think it's a company called Sweet,
okay,
SWEET. And so I've seen they have a product that people can go out and register for. You can get, I think, 4 starter packs. They do like it's a starter pack has it's 4 moments in it, 3 commons, and then like a chance that are rare or whatever, and it's like fifteen
sure.
dollars a pack. So I was like, oh, okay, let me check this out. It started for sale on Friday, so they
Hmm.
just started selling them on Friday. There were 5,000 packs available, and there's still 3,600 available. So it's not going great, I would say. Like
It,
in the sense of that's not a great initial showing, especially when
no,
you see the all day product, even with the packs, and everybody's complaining about their negative values and mad and whatever, and
right,
they're still selling out their pack drops. So I'm sure that like for if I was we're not hockey fans, obviously,
Right.
If I was, I'd be excited, to get into this, but I think it's probably not a great sign. Although, maybe it's just a slow starter. It did just drop on Friday,
Yeah.
but it's just interesting that even in like the toughness of the current market, you can see that there are products trying to exist, in the same space. So I think even though it's failing, I think that's just a good overall sign that there's still positivity around the idea.
Yes.
And so I think that bodes well for, we talk about what if Dapper runs out of money or what if this or that. I think that even if it does, someone will buy it and, shift it up and make it, better or whatever they have to do. So,
Yeah. No, I mean, I like the fact that they're doing NHL. I think that's a great idea. It's unfortunate that it worked out the way that it did.
yeah.
But again, the NFL is the NFL. I
Yeah. I
mean,
mean, it's,
NHL
yeah,
doesn't
not
have the
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 same.
staying power. So I can understand, especially in this market, why the NHL maybe
Yeah.
flopped a little bit. I mean, it's a tough time to start something like that. But I'm guessing the
I
licensing's a
was
lot cheaper.
shocked, but
Yes,
well,
yes,
there was like a soccer, La Liga launched since then, UFC launched since then, and I know both of those have, I mean, they're doing, they're doing whatever, but I
yeah,
want to say that like they were burning like tons of moments just like right off the bat, like just burning
yeah,
supply because they weren't selling, and so um,
yeah,
it is what it is. I mean, I think, Top Shot since it was first is just going to be around, period, no matter what, as toxic as that gets. But All Day, I think, is, I felt like that, it really felt like it was in a sweet spot. It's a shame that the crypto market is really just suffering still. I think if it just starts to turn around a little bit and people get a little bit more positive, I think it helps everything overall. But
right, right,
just it's a down time right now. So hopefully it's one of those things
yeah,
where it turns around and we're all thankful we had an opportunity to be. I mean, I remember
yes,
when we first started, it was like a dollar moment was just a pipe dream. So, we were like wishing we could have dollar moments. Now we have them, and
right,
we're all scared as can be about it. So,
yeah. I mean,
I
the
think
way I see it
it's yeah,
is, I was just gonna say, I mean, the dollar moment is a dream come true for me. I'm snatching them
yeah,
all up. Like, here's the thing. I
yeah,
mean, I was spending like 60, $80 on rares. I mean, to drop $80 on $1 moments at this point, nothing, right? So
right.
it's just like I'm gonna scoop them all up, see what happens. If it crashes and burns, I mean, the way I see it is, everything I lost happened a long time ago. So
Right.
anything I'm doing now is just like, it's
You're well
nothing to compare.
positioned for the ultimate burn challenge. So that's good to
I'm
know.
I'm getting that way, and again,
Yeah,
it's
you
just
are.
like, like, I mean, here's the deal. It's like we were hoping for these a long time ago, and it's like you're always thinking like, oh, what if it got really low? You think about when this first came out. If I'd have told you there had been, $15 rares, dollar moments, and like legendaries would be going in the 200s, 95% of the people would be like, click, 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 like, where do I sign up? I want to get on this right
Yeah.
now. And it's like,
Right.
it's just like when the shit goes down, everybody gets scared. It's like, not to get into the housing market, but again, the housing market in 2007, 2008, nobody's like, I don't even want to touch a house. And now it's like those houses have like skyrocketed. And everybody's like, oh, I want
Right.
a house. And the interest rates are so high. Again, when things are down, people get scared. So it's just
Yeah.
like
I yeah.
if you're doing it, you're doing it. If you're not, well, then, good luck.
Right. It's Warren Buffett who said it best, right? When people are fearful, be greedy, and when people are greedy, be fearful. And that adage, obviously works well in a lot of investments. Whether
Yeah.
it'll pan out in this
I mean, yeah,
space
NFTs
remains to
are a
be
little bit
seen.
more
Yeah.
risky, but
It's a brand new. I mean, look, we're in a brave new world here. So there's a lot of risk, but then the potential for reward is high too. And
right.
yeah. So
I think of like,
it's
but it's the NFL. And
yeah,
NFL
that
things that are
exactly.
collected, it's, they usually don't. I mean, I think of like even some of like, I mean, I guess, like some of the worst football cards, but again, this is like a brand new technology. It's something new. It's like the first series. I just, that's the thing that I kind of always default to is it's the NFL. This
Yeah.
is not
I,
some like, this isn't like the Matchbox, race car one or the Dr. Seuss thing. It's not some like fringe thing. This is
yeah.
like, this is the NFL. You know,
The
if it
key,
doesn't work for the
honestly, for
NFL, it's not
me,
going to work for anybody else. Go ahead.
right. No, I was just gonna say the key for me is if, like if this product takes another year or two to really take off, that's great. But if it starts dragging out too far, then the concern is that all the players you have in Series 1 and Series 2 are retired, out of the NFL, no longer good, all those types of things. And so then there's far less interest in them. So, there is a window, right? There is a window in the sense of players start retiring and, getting moved out of the NFL. And so that list of players that are relevant from Series 1 starts shrinking. It just shrinks every time a player gets cut, traded, put on a practice squad, that window shrinks. So,
Yeah. I'm going to put my ass on the line a little bit here, and I'm going to say this. It's like I look at these moments from time to time, and I just think to myself, there might be a day when you go, God damn, I could have gotten Tom Brady's debut moment for $60. And I sat there
yeah.
and looked at it and said, nah. And also, there might be a day where people say that Peyton Hendershot moment, which was that one that had that weird lawsuit around it, is that unique moment that nobody could get their hands on. And it's like, oh, that would have been so cool if I'd have picked up one of those. It's like these things are sitting out there, and maybe people are like, oh, all day. Remember that? That didn't work out. It could be that.
Yeah.
Or it could be you could be sitting there saying, I had a chance to pay $60 and get a Tom Brady rare, and I passed on it. So common.
Yeah.
Again, but it's his debut, and again, it's
it's his debut moment. You said rare. I was just clarifying that we meant the debut common, not the rare.
Yes. I mean, this could end up being a collector's kind of thing. At the beginning, right now, it's more about utility, but these players, as time marches on, it might become a collector's game at some point. It might shift. It might go through
there's
peaks and valleys.
enough fans that collect. Once they find it and once they get comfortable with it, then absolutely. But it's just not. We're just not there yet. So
people are not comfortable with digital assets. There's a generation of people that are, the baby boomer generation. They would never buy NFTs. Even our generation would probably are kind of skeptical of it. But one thing I will say, and again, I'm kind of putting myself out there a little bit, is that I feel like a lot of what All Day does is geared towards a certain age group. Again, sometimes I think they could, you think about who's got money to spend on this product. There's like a younger generation that's very tied into NFTs. They have some money to spend, but not as much money. But then there's like a little bit older of a generation, and I feel like a lot of this stuff is on Discord, and not everybody uses Discord. I feel like a lot of the stuff that gets announced, it's like I feel like they need to use a broader brushstroke to kind of say, hey, like there's a pack drop happening. I feel like sometimes I'm not always on Discord. I'm on sometimes, but it's like use other mediums to reach out to people, because again, when you need new users, you can't just depend on I feel like they're depending on that everybody's on Discord. If you're not on Discord, then you're not going to find out.
Right. Well, no, they do. I think they want you to find out in other ways, but then they want you to participate on Discord.
Let me push back a little bit here.
Sure.
If you're not on Discord, how would you find out about a pack drop?
All right. So two things. One, I'm going to say, I think there are people. I think you'd be surprised if you found out the ages of the people who are on that Discord and who are buying these products. I don't think they're as young as you think they are. I think there's a lot more people in their 30s and 40s and in those brackets.
I'm saying let me just clarify one thing. I'm saying there's technically savvy people who are on Discord that are in all age groups. That's great. Yeah. But again, that's a slice of the pie. You're trying to open this up to football fans. Football fans can be meatheads. They're not all technically savvy.
No, yeah, I get it, and they're not, and exactly, and this is open to technically savvy, but I think that again, that's why you see such a large influx of fantasy players, because they're fantasy players tend to be more technically savvy. They want to do that. Sure. So totally understand your point. But pack drops get mentioned on Twitter or X or whatever. They get there are other channels that they get mentioned on and such. So So I guess so you're pushing back, but I'll push back to you. What channel are they supposed to be using that they're not using?
Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it.
They do use that though. Pack drops are on. Yes, they do.
They're not. They're very a lot of the announcements are very, very few on there. They're not. like, I mean, you look at their Twitter presence right now, it is dying.
Yeah.
It is. And
I
it's like,
mean,
again,
I don't, you know.
I'm not saying get on Facebook, but what I'm saying is that they need to. I feel maybe I'm old school in this sense. I might show my age a little bit here, but again, I feel like they should be using like their front page of NFL All Day when you go there should have like big announcements. They used to do that, like pack drop coming. It's like it should all
Yeah, the
be there, like
blog,
up
the
front,
other,
ready
yeah.
to go. Yeah, it's like it should like they're making again the entry to get into like even like signing up for an account. It's just complicated. It's always been complicated, and that should be something that they
Yeah.
address too. It's just they gotta make it easier to find, simpler. That I feel like that is a huge part of why this didn't take off.
I mean, I hear you on some of that, but at the same time, I think that it,
What about when we had our buddy Rowdy on, and he was like, "How the fuck do you get on this thing?" Like, I mean,
yeah.
that was his gut
Well, but that's
instinct.
more, that's just people who don't know. Like, again, setting up a crypto
Football fan.
wallet, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
What's
I
that?
know. I mean, but
No, no,
again,
no, I
he's
know. I agree with you.
like a
So,
football fan. It's
but
just
part of it is that
hard.
they cut, they've been cutting some of their workforce, so I'm sure that's
Hmm.
had, some issues as well.
Sure.
But I mean, I mean, actually, it's crazy. They were pretty active actually today. They were like retweeting a bunch of like stats and that kind of stuff.
Sure. I mean, it's
So I
football
can't find the
Sunday.
pack drops, but like I see a pin drop, and I'm sorry, I'm not gonna like bore the listeners with looking for it, but I can see there's a pin drop on August 25th saying, "Hey, stake your claim to the top stars and rookies. Come get into new dynamic moments, the best, blah blah blah." So a
Sure.
huge thing where it's like talking about that. I hear what you're saying. I think at the end of season two, they were kind of bad about the pack drops, but I think that dynamic moments they were full blast on a bunch of different channels for dynamic
Right.
moments.
Up
So
and down.
yeah,
They're
a little
like,
bit of up and down for sure. But again, the we also saw the dynamic moments. To your point, they did sell really well, so maybe that partially was fueled by being on different channels and that kind of thing.
but
But
yeah,
it's I think we've proven out that like the ecosystem didn't expand; it just absorbed. So, um, which
when
I
I
think so we've
go ahead.
beaten this one up a bit. So we'll kind
Yes.
of go into our last topic, which is just the dynamic moments. So it's a good segue, which is
Sure.
like, so we're seeing the dynamic moments now. They're out, right? Like they're starting to get evolutions. They're
Yep.
players, some players are getting hurt. Aaron Rodgers, Nick Chubb,
Yep.
folks like that are
Yes.
now it's like J.K. Dobbins. What do I do with these guys? Uh, and then so you have that, and then you also have like some of these players who are really starting to emerge. And I don't mean emerge as like Christian McCaffrey's always been good, but
Right.
like you can see like he's having a really good season. Brock Purdy, really good season. Tua, really good season. Tyreek Hill, really, like so you're seeing
Yes.
there's certain players that are going to get barring injury are going to get a bunch of evolutions. And so
Yep.
I think what we're seeing is it's like, or what I'm seeing is that okay, people are seeing that the market's not really moving a ton for that. Like it's not like Christian McCaffrey's not like going through the roof.
Yeah.
Tua and Tyreek aren't going through the roof. They're staying pretty level,
Yep.
but we're seeing like injured players drop, and we're seeing players who are like kind of on teams or maybe not performing as well, like Najee Harris.
Yep.
You know, most of the Cardinals players,
Oh
folks
yeah.
like that, even though the Cardinals got an awesome win today, but it's still like they're just like, I'm not gonna put my money on, Marquise
Yes.
Brown this year. And so
Correct.
you're seeing those moments really go down, right? We're seeing those moments in the 30s, in the 20s, even for some of them, they get snatched
Yeah.
up pretty quick. But like you said, we're seeing legendaries now, and some of these dynamic moments drop into the 200s. So the market's been flooded. Like the rare and legendary market has been flooded thanks to these dynamic moments. And so it's really interesting to see, like, what are they going to do to like, how do you recover that market now? Because I don't think anybody wants to see the rares down to 15. I mean, they do when they're buying, but when, ultimately when they have a collection, they don't want to see rares at 15 and legendaries at 250, which is where we're at right now.
They can't fix it. I
There's
mean,
no fix.
I mean, unless you start burning dynamic moments. I mean, again, there's only 300 of each, but
Maybe you burn them for ultimates. I mean, to your point, again, maybe that's how you do your ultimates is you
I
got to
mean,
burn legendaries. That's what
again,
they did
I
with
think
Jefferson, and it
right,
worked.
but okay, I take it back. There is something they could do. Not release them. Leave them at the
Wow,
130 count. Like they've released like 100 and 150 of 300 on most of these plays.
170.
Sure,
I think it's
whatever they've done,
170 of the rares, but yeah,
don't release anymore. Say, oh,
yeah.
sorry. I mean, again, that would be great.
There's no way they're going to do that though.
I know because it's about money at the end of the day, but
No, no, no. I
to
think actually I don't know if they're even going to sell those packs. I think they're going to use a lot of them for prizes, for challenges, for that kind of thing. I don't think we're going to see another pack drop with. I don't think we're going to see another drop with the same way that we saw, where they're going to just do more of those moments. I think we're
right,
going to see something different happen there.
right. But again, see, this is what I was kind of going back into our last episode, is that if they did something like a contest, like if they say, all right, we're going to give away 20 packs
Yep.
because we're going to do this certain type of, I don't know, call it a playbook contest, whatever you want to do something and like get people to burn
That is
moments.
what they're doing right now in the playbooks.
Yeah, but again, it's like there's like the playbook just feels like same old same. It's like going to like a Thursday movie with your wife every Thursday. It's like, oh, we're going to the movies again. Oh, we're doing it again.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I know, I get it, but let's do something like kind of special on Tuesday for once. It's like let's mix
Sure.
it up here a little bit because again, it's just like we all know playbooks coming, but throw in some shit, mix it up a little bit, get
Yeah, I
crazy.
mean the risk reward of playbook is not great. A lot of people are having to burn rares in order to get a chance at another rare, and it's like there's no promise that it's going to be anything good. So, if I have to burn a rare just to get a series 2 rare that winds up being, one of these floor $15 rares, what's the point? Like there's no,
But if you were
it's just
getting an
not fun.
ultimate, but what if you were getting an ultimate?
Yeah, but then to your point is that it's like you do that, and what's it gonna do? It's just gonna turn and make ultimates worthless. Like in the same way, like
Don't
the
abuse, like I'm saying, like 10 count for ultimates, and maybe there's only like 10 of them this season.
yeah,
Maybe there's only 10 special plays. Great. let
yeah.
let the game dictate what the ultimate moments are. Don't go out there and make a like an ultimate moment because Baker Mayfield threw like a touchdown with 10 seconds left. It's like
I think they've
don't,
done a good job. I haven't seen an ultimate moment where I was like, that's not an
no.
ultimate
I'm just
moment.
saying, like, don't, like, if you don't abuse it, it should be fine. It's when they
Yeah,
start getting greedy, and they haven't done too much of that. But again, it's just I don't know.
yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. We'll keep coming back and reporting on it and letting people
Yeah,
know. But here we
yeah,
are, just pitching ideas and trying to be a voice here to help the people who are feeling the same way we're feeling get heard. So
yeah. And go out there and snatch up those $1 moments. And any predictions for how low rares will get next time we do? I mean, let's say we're back here in a week, maybe 2 weeks. What do you think? Where do you think rares are going to be?
I
We saw
think,
$15 rares.
yeah,
Are they gonna implement some type of like buffer to kind of raise? Are they gonna do like some type of burn contest and bump them back up? Are they
I feel
gonna
like week
fuck it
four
up?
is like a great week four is like a time right then is when it's like maybe they have the playbook, but they do a different challenge, like a second
Sure.
challenge where it's like burning some of these like moments that are getting too low. So it historically that's what they've done,
Yeah.
right? You see the market start like kind of getting too low, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, magically there's this burn challenge, and all the $15 rares get bought up because people are trying to
Yeah.
burn to accomplish something. So.
Will the intern
Um,
get it right? I don't know.
well, hopefully we'll see, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see.
I'm gonna say we see $12 rares.
All right. I mean, we
Now
may
I'm not
see
saying a
a
lot of them.
$12 rare.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
saying like maybe we see like a couple, but like maybe 14, 13, 15. We're seeing that, and then kind of
Yeah.
peaks on 12. I
That feels
think
so low, but yeah. Again, I don't
I
I'm not nothing anything's I we talked about, I know in one of our older episodes, we talked about $10 rares. We
yeah.
said that was a distinct possibility. Like rares that are in the low teens, and we're working our way there. This is exactly, we said dollar moments, $10 rares and
Yep.
or not ultimate, sorry, legendaries in the 100s, like somewhere between $100 and $200 for a legendary.
Yep.
And so the legendaries have held on a little bit better than the rares and the commons, and that's to be expected because it's a lower
Yep.
supply and it's just not as much turnover. But those starting to see those legendaries like kind of chop into it. So we're almost that 250 threshold's not too far away.
And here's what I'll say: keep selling them. Hey, I love it. Keep
Yeah.
selling your rares for 13, 12, what, bring them up,
Hey,
bring them
sell
on
them for
down.
10. I'll buy them for 10.
Bring
Yeah.
them down to 8. I mean, again, it's like at this point, fuck it, I'm all in. So, unless Dapper's going belly up, if they go down to
Yeah.
like 10, $8, $14, 13, wherever, I
Yeah.
hope they go that low. I hope they kind of fuck it up so that gives us a chance to get in there and complete some of these sets.
Yeah, let's just hope they don't fuck it up so much that
Yeah.
they can't
Yeah,
recover. That's
exactly.
I think that's it's like it's playing, it's trying to, again, it's trying to catch the knife, right? It's
Right.
like I'm okay. Like honestly, I'm pretty okay right now. Like if this is as low as it ever gets and we go up from here, I'm okay. Like I
Yeah.
don't need, I won't be like, oh, I wish it would have gone lower because look, I mean, the realistic approach is that it's like unless something significant happens in crypto, we're not, this season is going to be what we're looking at right now. Like there's not, unless they do the ultimate burn or some major
They need to come up with
supply
something.
constriction, this is what we're looking at for the rest of the season. Like this is kind of the area we're going to be in. So
Yeah. They better take my idea and run with it. You're
they
welcome.
better, because if they're planning to do drops with uncommons and commons and all that, like I don't know who's got money to buy those things. Like where is that coming from? So
Yeah. I will
um
not buy those. I'm
yeah.
not buying shit for commons and uncommons. I'm just gonna let those again, I didn't buy that many dynamic moments. I bought a few of them, but I'm not gonna buy them. I'm just gonna let them, they're just falling down. I'm just gonna let
Yeah.
them keep falling and then I'll just pick them up.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway,
All
well,
right.
we've said our piece.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be back. We'll be back with more ideas, content, and complaints. So
Exactly.
so drop something in the comments to let us know how you're feeling. Where's your frustration? What are your thoughts? Obviously, like and subscribe if you can. That would be appreciated. And
Yep.
we will see you on the next one.
All right. Don't forget to tip your waitress.
Peace.
Peace.